What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made these beautiful, delicious, smoky, plump, cheesy, amazing jalapeno cheddar sausage links made entirely on a pellet grill. Coming up, this is some meat. Ooh. Pat it dry. And what I got here is a nice chunk of flat brisket, nice little fat cap on there, and then some lovely chunks of some pork butt, nicely already cubed up for us. So simply enough, I'm gonna do what I always do, and just cube this beef up to be about the same size as this pork so it fits through the grinder easier. And I'm going with a beef and pork sausage today, pretty classic, but you could always do just pork, just beef, lamb, chicken, turkey. I've done it all, it's all good. And you wanna get some fattier cuts like pork belly, pork butt, brisket, because you wanna make sure you have enough fat in your sausage. So now I'm gonna weigh this out to be exactly 5 pounds. And of course, your ratio of beef to pork is completely up to you. This one's looking like it's gonna be a little bit pork heavy, and I'm fine with that. And there we go. A beautiful mixture of beef and pork, nice and fatty. So I'm gonna pop this into the freezer for a little bit to get nice and cold. And now that our meat is sufficiently chilled, through the grinder we go. Just get it all loaded up and grind away. Going through the coarse die today. Beautiful. And just like every other time I make jalapeno cheese sausage, I forgot to send these through while I was sending through the meat. But got some big boy jalapenos going in, seeds and all. This is a lot of jalapenos, so we'll see how spicy this is. But you never can tell. Beautiful. We'll send a little bit of meat through to push out any extra jalapeno that's in there. Ooh, smelling real nice. As far as spices go for this sausage mix, we're gonna bust out the all new Chuds BBQ Sausage Starter Pack, because why not? And into a vessel we go. And the reason I'm putting it into this quart container is because we are in fact going to be adding some pink curing salt that does not come in this. This is great for a fresh sausage, but if you are going to cure your sausage, you simply need to add about 6 grams of pink curing salt, number 1. And just give that a nice little shake so it's evenly distributed in there. We probably could have just gone right into here and mixed it up, but this makes me feel a little bit better. And in we go. Give that a nice little mix. Tell you what, folks, I'm not ready for summer because the flies come back, and I can already tell it's gonna be a bad year for flies, especially when you're making sausage. So bear with me. And once that is all nicely mixed around a little bit, we'll go in with our liquid, which today is none other than some Miller Lite, 226 grams of the stuff. And I haven't put beer in a sausage in a long time, and that's because the first time I did it with a really hoppy IPA, and it came through a little bit more than I liked. It kind of tasted like warm beer. Weird, I know. But I think with a nice light Pilsner, like Miller Lite, should work out great. Add some nice malty notes. But we will find out, won't we? So now I'm gonna go through and mix this until everything is nice and tacky. Looking very nice. And of course, last but not least, we're going in with a whole bunch of cheese. This is a full block of Tillamook sharp cheddar. And this is a little bit more cheese than I typically add to a sausage because I'm kind of in the mood for a cheesy sausage. So hopefully it's not too much, if there is such a thing. But no, we're not going with high temp cheddar today. Just trying to keep things easy, but make sure this is evenly distributed. Looking good, and our sausage mix is done. Ooh, so cheesy, so jalapeno-y, so easy too. Having to weigh things out by the gram. Going on with our standard hog casings. I believe these are 32-35s. I like to send a little water through the casing too to make sure it's nice and lubed up during this process. You know, gotta be considerate. Tie it off, snip the tip, and now we case away. We can do something a little bit differently today, and that is, I'm gonna make some C-links, which is something I'm super into lately. Thanks a lot, Cole, where you make one big link, and you leave some extra casing on there, and you go ahead and tie it off. And I really like to do a bunch of knots on these things so they don't come undone. And there we go, beautiful little C-link. Feeling strong. We'll do a couple more knots just for good measure, because we're gonna be hanging these things, and we don't want them falling off. There we go, looking good to me. Snip that tail end off, and now we repeat. Again, I'm gonna start with a little bit of leeway over here, give that a little twist, and just case a nice, big, cheesy, plump little ceiling. Oh no, I popped it. It's been a while. Should I continue on? No, don't do that. Be a professional, come on. I don't know, 6-8 incher. Pull off some extra, snip that off, give it a couple of twirls to make sure the ends are nice and tight, and then just tie it together. And basically just do as many knots as you need to keep these things nice and tight. And now we repeat this process, and this is a little bit more tedious than your typical sausage making, but I gotta say, these look great when they're done. And just like that, all these beautiful, plump little C-links are looking absolutely gorgeous. So now I'm gonna park these in the fridge overnight to let that curing salt do its work, and we will check back in on these tomorrow. One overnight later, these sausages are looking absolutely beautiful. Got these little hooks on there because I hung them up this morning for just a few hours in front of a fan to help really dry out those casings. That's why they're looking a little bit darker and nice and dry. So all we need to do at this point is throw them on the pit. And as the thumbnail or title of this video probably suggests, we are in fact cooking these sausages on the pellet grill today. And that's because that's one of the most common questions I get on a weekly basis is, I wanna make sausage, but my pellet grill only goes down to like 180 degrees. Is that too hot to cold smoke sausage? And the answer is, yeah. If you're trying to get a true cold smoke on sausage, anything above 150 degrees is gonna start to melt the fat. And if you do that for 3-4 hours, you're gonna start to lose all your fat during the cooking process. They're gonna cook through too quickly and you're not gonna get enough smoke or color on them. Also, pellet grills are pretty finicky when you run them as low as possible because of the auger and whatnot. But of course, there is always a way around it. Firing up my old Camp Chef Woodwind Pro, got these links hanging in there all nice. As you can see, I took out the baffle plate and the bottom racks to leave plenty of room to hang these. If we were doing regular links, I'd probably keep them linked up in sections of 4 like I do on the mini Chud box. They'd probably hang down almost to the bottom. But for these C-links, it works out very well. None of them are touching, nice and suspended, looking really nice. And as far as smoking these things, I'm not even gonna turn this bad boy on. I'm gonna bust out the old smoke tube. I'm sure you got one of these if you've got a pellet grill. These things are pretty cool. Just fill them full of pellets, light it on one end, burns like a cigar with a nice amount of smoke, very little amount of heat. And we should get about 5-6 hours of cold smoke out of this thing. So simply enough, I'm gonna just pop this on the rack over here and light it up. I like to wait till there's a little flame dancing, let that burn out for a minute, and just make sure that this thing is nice and cherried because we don't want to shut this down and have no smoke when we come back in a few hours. And once it's been flaming for a second, blow that out, shut down the lid, and let this thing rock for a nice long time. All right, folks, we're about 6 hours later, and this thing finally stopped puffing smoke, and I must say this thing worked really well. Ow, still a little toasty. This thing was absolutely full of smoke, and as you can tell by the color of these links, they're looking nice and red. Very happy with that. I wish I got a shot of this thing when it was full of smoke, because this thing really was just bellowing for most of the day. But these are looking absolutely perfect, very dark, nice red. So now all we need to do is cook these through. We don't actually have to do this right now. We could vac seal and freeze these now, but I'm gonna go ahead and turn this thing on and bring these up to about 150 degrees internal temp. That way they're fully cooked, just to make things easier whenever we want to pull them out of the fridge or the freezer and fire them up. Let's fire up the pit. A little more anticlimactic with a pellet grill. So I'm gonna fire this thing up to about 200 degrees, pretty low because pellet grills tend to run a little hotter. Also, because I don't have the baffle plate in there, it's probably gonna be a little toastier than it wants to be. So once this thing comes up to temp, we'll get these things cooking away, get even more smoke on them, and make sure they're nice and plump. It's been about an hour and a half, a little longer than I was expecting, but you know, you could always bump up the temps if you're in a hurry. But these things are done, feeling nice and plump. I just temped one of them right at 150 degrees internal, so off these come and into an ice bath they go. And into the ice bath they go. This is just gonna rapidly cool them down, stop that cooking process dead in its tracks. It's gonna shrink up those casings nice and tight to the meat, and also clean off our wings, although we don't really need them because they are looking beautiful already, but this is good practice. So we're gonna let these sit for a minute till they're nice and chilled out, then we'll dry them off. And just like that, out of the water bath these come, looking nice and plump, nice and red, very smoky. I must say, I'm pretty impressed with the amount of color we got on these things. Feeling very nice and taut, looking jalapeno-y and cheesy. And of course, I gave them a nice little wipe down as they came out of the water because everybody loves a clean weenie, folks. Come on. So behind me, I've got that pellet grill fired up to about 275, 280 degrees. We're gonna throw a few of these on there to cook through and see how they came out. But as for the rest of these guys, this is the perfect place to vac seal them up and pop them in your fridge, pop them in your freezer, because they are salted, they are cured, they are smoked, and they are fully cooked through. And all those are preservation methods. So these are gonna last you a very long time in the freezer, especially if they're vac sealed and frozen. 2 other preservation methods. I highly recommend making a bunch of these at one time and then keeping them in your freezer for whenever you're having a barbecue party or you just want a weeknight sausage. And at this point, this is basically what you're gonna get at any grocery store if you pick up like a kielbasa or anything that's smoked or already pre-cooked. That's exactly what we did here. Love it. Oh, looking so pretty. Let's throw a few of these on, shall we? Gonna go right back on. I was gonna put the baffle plates and stuff back in, but you know, everything's really hot, so we'll wait till later. And after about 45 minutes off, these come looking nice and juicy, nice and extremely plump, very hot to the touch. And I got this little baby guy, that's what I was using as my little temperature tester. So we're gonna let these cool down for just a wee bit before we go ahead and dive on in. Go right down the middle. So far so good, looking nice and dense, nice and cheesy, nice and juicy. Got a couple of coins. I mean, you really can't go wrong with a nice jalapeno cheese sausage, folks, am I right? If you never had one of these, you need to seek one out because, oh my goodness. A little bit of kick, a little bit of cheesy gooiness. I mean, would you just look at this sausage mountain, folks? So cheesy, so plump, so juicy, smoky, red. Oh, I'm ready. After seeing these results, I am thinking that this might be my new way to cook sausage from here on out because these look absolutely perfect. Let's see how they taste. Oh, yep. I mean, come on. It's cheesy. The spice level, everything is perfect because we use that Chuds BBQ sausage starter mix. Also now at shopchuds.com. So we know the flavor and the binder and everything is there. But smokiness, plumpness, just the cook in general, and just the process, very easy. And that smoke flavor definitely comes through. You can even see a bit of a smoke ring on the exterior of that, which is pretty unbelievable because this is a cured sausage after all, but it's everything you want a sausage to be. I mean, just look at it, come on. So snappy, nice and cheesy. Heat level is right where I want it to be. You know, if Brooke was here, she'd say it probably needs a little more kick, but you never can tell with those jalapenos. Sometimes they come out really hot, sometimes they're just mild, but adds that peppery flavor that just kind of sits in the background, exactly what you want. I wish there was someone else here because I am definitely getting a bready note from this, from the beer that we added as our liquid. Like, it literally smells like a kolache. This smells like freshly baked bread. Meat sausage. It's bizarre, but in the best way possible. Miller Lite, what can't you do? But no sausage video is complete without a snap test, so beautiful grind on there. Oh, it's so juicy. Cause I can't stop. I am super pumped that this worked out so well because it just opens up a whole new part of the patio for sausage making. But for everyone out there who's got a pellet grill who wants to make sausage, this is the method that I recommend. Very good stuff. That being said, this method is really only good if you're gonna use a pink curing salt because it's sitting in the danger zone for like 6 hours. So if you're not gonna add pink curing salt, we may have to come up with another method for you, or you're just gonna get a little less red smoky links. But if you're going for that traditional Central Texas style sausage like these, I think this method is a true winner. Oh, but without further ado, I think it's time for the official taste test. All right, y'all, notice that is how to make some absolutely incredible smoky barbecue jalapeno cheddar sausage links at home using nothing but a pellet cooker. You can do this on pretty much any cooker you've got. If you have that smoke tube full of pellets, you can do this on a Weber kettle. You can do this in a cardboard box and then pop them in the oven at the end to get them up to temp. Do it on a gas grill, do it on your offset. It was really a wonderful experiment that I'm glad I did because I'm definitely gonna be implementing this in the future. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting the subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Be sure to pick yourself up some Chuds BBQ sausage starter mix on my website, chudsbbq.com. I highly recommend it. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace!